And it's probably all due to the great race. And we have a young lady on from Pennsylvania, Dayna. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm going to turn you over to these are old experts, so they're just sort of, well, no, we won't go there. Anyway, Steve and Jim, and they're going to talk to you about how you've restored old things.
Hi, Dayna. This is Jim and Steve, and Steve's the old guy here.
Yeah, she's met me a couple times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember when you guys hosted, we had something at the school, we did the tour up there in Williamsport.
Yep.
We had all the old cars, and then I just met you at Hershey again when you came down. Was that your first time at Hershey?
No, I went last year, and last year was ridiculous. I couldn't believe everybody was telling me how big it was, and then I showed up, and I was just blown away. I've never been to anything like that.
Yeah, it's really something, isn't it? I've told people over and over, they can't, if you've never been, you can't believe the size of that thing. You just can't believe the size of that thing. Well, anyway, what'd you think of the rain this year?
If it wasn't raining, it would have been a lot better, and I was so mad that I didn't go Saturday, because Saturday I woke up, sun is shining, birds are singing, and I couldn't go Saturday.
Wow.
Oh, you didn't get to go to the car show?
No, I didn't. I went last year.
Oh. Okay.
Well, Dayna, tell us what you're doing with the Buick, because I understand there's certain areas of expertise that you're having each one of your groups work on.
Well, right now I'm more into like the bodywork and paint, which we haven't gotten into yet. They're doing they just pulled the engine this week, and they got the crankshaft out and all that. So we've got a team working on the engine rebuild, and later I'll be working on body and paint. I'm not very mechanically oriented. I'm just learning that stuff. So I'm trying to kind of follow along with the engine rebuild and slowly pick up some things here and there.
Good. Now, is this your first year?
This is my second.
Your second. Okay. And what did you cover your first year when you were up there?
We did a lot. We had different body panels. Each of us worked on like little random projects here and there. And everybody has a different background. Some people have never touched body filler before, and some people have rebuilt engines before. So it's a lot of figuring out what people already know and reteaching them, make sure they know the right way. So, we relearn how to mix different Bondo and all that. We had our first paint class. Some people were spraying for the first time, blocking primer, spraying clear, buffing, all that. We did patch panels, metal work. We had a welding class. That was my first time welding, and we did MIG, TIG, oxyacetylene, running beads, vertical, horizontal, overhead, all that.
Wow.
I got to ask.
They cram a lot.
How did you get involved in that? Or how did you?
That was my question.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. I think it's a good question because it's very unusual for girls to not, to even get into this part of the car, but to even more unusual to get into the restoration stuff. So, sort of want to hear your stories. I think it's kind of interesting to a lot of people.
Well, I was up in a tech school for high school in Massachusetts, and we had the exploratory where you pick your shop. We had electrical, plumbing, electronics, machining, everything. And the last one I went through was auto body, and I didn't know what I wanted. And I went through it, and we were airbrushing and pinstriping and all that, and I was real fascinated with it. So I went home and I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I think I want to do auto body. I want to paint cars. And she's like, you got to do more than paint cars. You got to do metal work and sanding and all that. I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that. So I just started doing it, and I was just real into it. I thought I would just have to, put up with the metal fab and stuff, but I love welding. I love metal fab. I can sit there and block a car all day and not complain. It's something that comes pretty easily to me. And then when I was about ready to get out of high school, it was my junior year, they were trying to do job placement for everybody. and they told me that there was this custom shop that was looking for a kid. So I went over there, and it ended up being a restoration shop, and I didn't even know what a restoration shop was, really. I didn't realize it was a field before I was thrown into it. And I started working there, and I just thought, this is so much better than working on Honda Civics all day, or, it's so different. Every car is unique, every car has a story. It's a lot better for me.
Yeah, and it's history, too.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, let me give you a name, and you might want to Google this. It's Fay Butler, and he has a class. He's a metal former. And
yeah, my teacher was telling me about that last year, actually.
Yeah.
He's up in Massachusetts, apparently. I've never really heard of him or anything.
Well, he's incredible, and it's like a 2-week class. And if you get a chance, just Google it. Google his name, and he does have some videos, and he's done some great articles in Antique Automobile Magazine, too. Mm-hmm. But you sound very enthused about metalwork, and that is a lost art.
Oh, yeah,
today,
I don't know anybody that can do it, really.
Right. And the other thing is oxyacetylene. Nobody knows what that is anymore. Except Steve and me and David.
Yeah,
yeah, the old guys know about that stuff. So. The old guys know about that stuff. Well, anyway, so they got the engine out of the Buick. Mm-hmm. Are you on any of those teams, or are you? I remember at Hershey, you guys all had teams you were assigned to. Or are you just strictly paint and body?
I mean, it's difficult because nobody's strictly anything. We did pick one person to be in charge of everything, to be the leader, but everyone's bouncing around. It's always a team effort. I don't have a lot of background at all with engines. But when I see them doing it, I'll go over there, I'll ask them what I'm doing, if I can help anyway. Let me clean some parts off for you. And, they'll teach me, because a couple of them know engines really well, and they'll teach me what they're doing and everything like that. And it's always really team-oriented. So everybody bounces around, everybody helps, especially when we were pulling the engine, it's, everybody go over and, they're pulling the engine, everybody look, everyone gets real interested, so.
Good. Now, when you were going through that exercise, did you pull the fenders off besides pulling the hood and the grill out and the radiator?
Nope, the fenders, they ended up not being that in the way, so they pulled it out that way.
Good. All right. And what did the engine look like? Was it filthy inside and full of sludge?
It wasn't great. It was a little bit better than some of us had anticipated, a little bit worse than some of us anticipated. As they're pulling it apart, they realize that some of it's actually in really good shape and some of it's in not so good shape. But we have a parts car, too, that has an engine, and that turns over and everything, so they're doing the rebuild with that. We're still bouncing around a couple ideas if we want to make both. The goal is to have both engines running so we can have a spare engine.
Good.
But the engine we had in the Buick did run, and we were driving around the parking lot and all that. So that's the main one we're going to focus on. We already know it's good.
Didn't the young man last week say that one of them had a cracked head, or?
I think so.
I think they actually both do. The one that has now, I know it has a crack in it. I'm not sure how big it is, but I think it's real small. They were talking about whether it was going to be re-welded, and I think they talked to somebody who's worked on a lot of Buicks.
Doug,
and he said
remember him? Do you remember him, Doug Seabold, with the cowboy hat on from Hershey?
Yeah, that may have been who said. Somebody gave us the advice that we're actually better off doing a repair instead of re-welding it. There's a way to just do a minor repair on it to make sure it's good, because I guess if we re-weld it, it's a lot more likely to fail.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure all the details, but that's what I heard.
Okay.
Do the guys give you a hard time being the only? Are you the only girl in the program?
I'm the only girl in my year. There's 2 girls in the year below me, and No, I mean, nobody gives me a hard time or anything like that.
I can imagine. I've met you. I know nobody's going to give you a hard
time. All you got to do is light the oxyacetylene.
No, it's not like that. We all get along really good. We go and eat lunch together and all that. We hang out outside of school.
Good.
Well, that's great. So how many total kids are in this program? The 2 and the 4 year program.
I'm not sure. In the 2-year program right now, I think there's about 9 of us, and the year below us, there's a lot more. There's got to be 15 or so of them, I think. And it's all the 2-year program, but if you want, it can turn into a 4 years bachelor in automotive management. But I don't think too many of us are going towards the 4-year.
So last week when we were talking to the young man, he was talking about the route that you would take and how you all are going to be trading off driving and so forth. Are they gonna let a girl drive?
Well, I'm not old enough to drive, actually.
Oh.
I'm only 19, so I'm going to be a
that's
navigator.
Right. You said 21, I think. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 21 is the driver.
Are you going to navigate then?
Yes, I am. I'm probably going to navigate. My hometown is Lowell, Massachusetts, and that's the first stop in the Great Race. So I'm probably going to be right after that.
Wow, that's neat. And have you ever been out to the baseball park there, where the Red Sox farm team is?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. Good.
So anyway. So you don't know exactly how much more you're going to have to do to get this car roadworthy. You guys haven't decided. See, the guy last week was saying they're going to repaint the whole thing and redo the interior and all that stuff now to make it look really sharp.
That's what we want to do. Originally, we were going to run it unrestored, and now we're going to run it. I think we're going to repaint it. We weren't going to before because we weren't sure if time would allow it. But time's always a factor, and we're in such a rush with this. We only have a few months to get it together. So we got to focus on the really important things, roadworthiness and reliability. But I've been, pretty much the whole time saying we got to repaint it because that's my thing. So I think they decided we should repaint it and get it looking really nice, especially to promote our program, restoration. We want to show a car that looks shiny and pretty, and as well as can go from Maine to Florida.
Good. That's a great approach.
Yeah. This class that you're in on the Great Race, how familiar are you with it? It's called what class are you? There is a student class, right?
Yeah, it's called the X Cup, and I'm not sure of all the stipulations on it, but it's for younger kids to get them involved, and we're in a separate class, so we're not trying to be first out of all 100 competitors or whatever. We just need to be first throughout our class of, kids from high school, college, whomever.
With that, we're going to have to take a quick break. Can you stay with us, Dayna?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we'll be back right after this.
Are you into classic cars? Do you own a classic car? If so, you need to know J.C. Taylor Insurance, the absolute best place in the country for classic car insurance. They own classic cars, they support the industry, and have the best prices bar none. Go to jctaylor.com, get a quote, and tell them you heard about them on Radio Sandy Springs.
Did you miss a show that you really wanted to hear? All of our programs are available for download on americaswebradio.com and on iTunes. You can listen to your favorite programs on americaswebradio.com anytime you like.
Hello, I'm Steve Gross. I'm the host of The Gross Reality, and we're a show that every week talks about ways to run your business better, ways to improve technology that you're using to make more profits and keep your costs down. We're always looking out for you and looking out for ways to make your business more successful. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to you every Wednesday afternoon on The Gross Reality.
You're listening to americaswebradio.com. The pioneer and leader in chat radio. Thank you for listening.
And we're back on the Classic Car Show on America's Web Radio, and we've got a young lady from Pennsylvania that's going to be a part of the great race. Dayna is on the line with us. And Dayna, I wanted to ask you a quick question, because this is a topic that Steve and I have been talking about since we started the show, and we let Jim talk about it as well. But we're very concerned about the fact that not many young folks like yourself are getting into the classic car hobby or industry or restoration. What, obviously you've said that you've had an interest in it for quite some time. What do you think, what's it going to take to get kids to give up the thumb action on the couch and get involved with doing something with classic cars?
It's hard, because most people that I know that are into it, it's either because, their dad or their grandfather or whatever had a 1940-something, whatever, and, they got to work on it in the garage. So when you have that childhood experience of, getting your hands dirty, pulling a car apart, and working on it, it's impossible not to get into it. But I think it's just the exposure. You gotta figure out a way to get kids to realize how much fun it is to actually do this kind of stuff. Pick up a spray gun, pick up a welder, pick up a hammer, and start working on it. But especially with restoration, not every kid has a classic car in their garage that they can go to after school. They all have video games that they can go to after school, but they don't always get the opportunity to work on this stuff or even realize that there's plenty of people all over the place that want them to work on their cars,
So do you, and I'm sure you're seeing it as a career when you graduate, what is the school itself going after recruiting kids?
I think they do a real good job. Actually, the Great Race, we're looking at it as a big promotion for the school's program. We're still a really new program. I'm going to be the first graduating class that's only 2 years old as far as the restoration major. And it's a lot of, we're trying to get people to understand, this is what we do at our school. This is what we learn. It's here. It's available for people who have always been interested in this stuff but never thought there was a way to just learn it, Like, I always assumed that, until I got my job at a restoration shop, I didn't even realize it was a real field that I could go into, and it's tough to get into when you don't get opportunities like that. So the school's here. It's available for anybody across the United States,
I got to ask one more question, then I'm going to turn it back over to the experts. What kind of car do you drive?
Unfortunately, right now, I drive a 2001 Dodge Stratus. It gets me to Pennsylvania and back. It's pretty reliable, but eventually I'm trying to get a project car to start restoring. I really want to get like a 50s Volkswagen Beetle, and, I got a lot of ideas for that. I need a project car, but for right now, my car gets me here and there.
That's great. And I admire you for saying Volkswagen Beetle, because I'm dating myself, but I had one of those new. So, and it was a neat car, and I enjoyed it immensely, and it got me to college.
Hitler gave that to you, didn't he?
No. It was after the war.
Oh.
It was after the war. So the guys pick on me a little bit. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. Let me ask you, like I say, it's very unique, and I think it's really cool to find a girl that's involved in this. What do you see as your job opportunities when you graduate from Penn State up there?
Well, there's a couple of places like museums and stuff that are looking to hire some people, but I don't really think I want to get into that as much. I'd like to go to a place where I could do a lot of, custom work, metal fab, painting and graphics and stuff. I'd love to be able to still restore cars. I'm also thinking about, maybe working on motorcycles and stuff like that. So it's pretty up in the air. I'm trying to keep all my options open, but I'd love to go somewhere and be able to, pick up a spray gun every day, because that's how I got into it. That's what I really like.
So you like the paint stuff. the other thing that that's really getting to be hard to find, and I know you guys. I talked to what's his name, Mr. Klinger. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
About is upholstery stuff for old cars. Restoring the interiors. Boy, is that getting to be harder and harder. And he said they eventually want to get a program in up there to do some of the interior stuff.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about over Christmas break we have coming up, I was going to try to get an internship at an upholstery shop because that's just one more thing I really want to have under my belt as far as, I kind of know how to dabble with that. If they could get it at the school, that would be amazing. No, I don't know anybody that knows how to do upholstery. And when I worked at my last place, we had our stuff sent out to New York. There's not a whole lot of local places to do it.
Yeah, so there isn't. Have you ever been up to, just for fun, up in Melvin Village in New Hampshire?
Nope, never been there.
And that's that antique car community near Lake Winnipesaukee where all of those people have some they all have antique cars and I mean big antique car, a lot of stuff. And if you live in that town, you have to be an antique car person, and there's all kinds of restoration stuff and shops. So when you get
I'll definitely have to make a trip over there.
Yeah, Melvin Village in near Lake Winnipesaukee. When you go up there, if you decide to go up there, like say when you have your break between Christmas, give me a call. You have somebody up there I know. I gave my card to a couple people, and I'll put you in contact with a couple guys, and they can maybe help you out and show you around and steer
that would be awesome.
steer you in the right direction as to possible places to look at, especially if you're going to stay in the New England area, because these guys have been in this a long time. This hobby. But if you decide you want to do that, I have a couple of really good friends that live up there that in Meredith, New Hampshire.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And you're not far. If you're Lowell, you're not far from Meredith at all.
No, I bounce between Lowell and Manchester, New Hampshire all the time, so that's right along there.
Yeah, and maybe you can meet some of the other people that are involved in this. The other thing that we need from everybody, when you go back and talk to the other kids about, because I know we're running out of time, is we need to be aware of, and one of our jobs here is going to be to try to help you with this Great Race project. So if you are in need of X or something, if anybody has a shop manual for a 1932 Buick model, what was it, 25?
50.
50. Okay. Or the service bulletins for this. We need to know that. We can put it out. We can get the word out for you what we're looking for or what you're looking for, and try to make it the search a little easier. Because I can guarantee you, the more we do this, and the more we get your name out, the more support you're going to get from people in the car hobby. Because everybody I've talked to just thinks this whole deal is great. What you kids are doing, what you guys are doing.
Well, right now, we have a Facebook page, and it's facebook.com/PC Great Race. Because anybody that supports us, the least we can do is keep them updated on what we're doing. So we're going to start posting a ton of pictures up there, let everybody know. And the other thing is we can send you guys a bunch of pictures if you want to post them up on your website.
Well, you'll have to talk to David about that. I don't know how that. I can't do Facebook. I'm lucky I can work a push-button telephone.
So. But we're gonna try to get a couple more things up, more ways people can contact us. And
that's important.
With what we're doing. Yep.
That's great.
That's all in the works. We're brainstorming a few ideas.
Yeah, that's really important. And as soon as you guys get that stuff up, somebody needs to let us know so we can pass get the information out. Because I think you have like I told, who was it, Joe that called last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I told him, the nuts and bolts part, to me, yeah, that's important. But I think, like I told you guys at Hershey, I think you guys have the opportunity to really change and have a big impact on this hobby, getting more young people involved and understanding what it's all about and the fun and the companionship and the history of what you guys are doing. To me, that's much more important than nuts and bolts and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
But so you guys have got a big responsibility, but anything that we can do to help you with your project, be sure you let us know. Keep us have somebody keep us posted, and by all means have them talk to Dave at the radio station because he's the main contact person.
Yep, no, we definitely will. We want to keep everybody updated, everybody in the loop. Anybody who's willing to support us, we appreciate it so much. We had no idea when we started this how many people would be so interested in what we're doing. You know, we just thought it was a little class project, and everybody thinks it's amazing. So. Oh,
it's wonderful, and in fact, you have been fabulous this morning. Yeah. You've been a real inspiration.
Yeah.
Seriously, today, most youngsters, and forgive me for calling you a youngster. But they're not interested
you
in this.
little whippersnapper.
And I really appreciate, we all do. It's just keep us informed, and we want to talk to somebody as often as possible for updates.
And, all right. No, definitely will.
Okay, great. David, do you have anything for Dayna?
No, we're going to have to do what we do at the end of the show. We're going to have to put a plug in the jug and move on down the street.
Okay. Thanks,
Dayna, thank you.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
You too. Thanks.